All right, we're telling whether the ordered pair is a solution of the equation. Um, Nothing particularly confusing about this. We can say we've got y equals 2x plus 7. Might be a little bit more complicated equation than we did before, but we're going to do it the same anyway. 2 parentheses, there goes x, plus 7, and now we're going to substitute in for y. Remember, y is the second variable in the ordered pair, so that's going to go there, and we will put a 3 there. And x is the first of the two coordinates, so that's going to go where x does after the 2. And let's calculate it out. This is just 3. This equals 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 7. And then 3 equals negative 4 plus 7 is 3. Checks out. And so we say, yes, it's a solution. And then let's try it again over here. Same thing. Where there's y, we're going to put parentheses, equals negative 1.2. Where there's x, we put parentheses, minus 2.6. Okay? And what are we going to sub in there? Well, for x, we've got 3.5. For y, we've got 6.8. And just because they're decimal numbers doesn't mean that there's anything particularly more difficult about it, just a little more complex in terms of doing your calculations. Okay? Now, for this part, when we're simplifying the right-hand side, you can see that we've got a negative times a positive is going to be a negative. So I'm going to put the negative there, and then I'm just going to deal with the calculating part of down here, 3.5 times 1.2. Okay? How do we do it? Well, we do 2 times 5 is 10, carry the 1, and then we do 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7. And then once we're over here, we need our first number that we get to go directly below what we're multiplying by. We're multiplying by 1. It's going to go down here. That's why they put a 0 placeholder. Sometimes you see somebody put an x there, okay, just to block it off as saying it wasn't part of our calculations. We just know that we're not allowed to use that space. But it's also legit to just put a 0 placeholder there and then say, now I'm going to be multiplying by the 1. And by the way, this 1, that was from the last step, so I'm going to get rid of it. And now we do 1 times 5 is 5, and 1 times 3 is 3. And we add them together, 0, 7 plus 5 is 12, carry the 1, 3 plus 1 is 4. And in our answer, how many digits were behind a decimal? There's one behind this decimal and another one behind this decimal for a total of 2. And so in our answer, we need to have 2 digits behind the decimal. And what we get is 4.20, and we can also just write that as 4.2. Anything at the very end, not trapped in by anything, nothing following it, can get dropped off. 4.20 is the same as 4.2. Okay? So what does that calculate out to be? That calculates out to be 4.2, and don't forget there was the negative there, and we rewrite everything else the same, minus 2.6. Okay? And I'm going to erase these calculations down here just to get them out of the way. You can rewind the video if you want to see how I did that. And now we say, okay, 6.8 equals, now we've got negatives, we're already down 4.2, and we're going to go down another 2.6. So we've got more negatives, we're further down, and the way that you calculate that is to just add those numbers together. It's kind of like negative 4.2 minus 2.6 is the same as negative 4.2 plus negative 2.6. All negatives, so we're going to say how many negatives do we have total? We've got 4.2 and another 2.6 for a total of 6.8 negatives. And how do we do? Is it true? Is it true? Well, yeah, hopefully you know that 6.8 is not the same as negative 6.8. Those are two very different numbers. Okay? they have the same distance from 0 on the number line, but they're not the same number. So we say, nope, not a solution. Okay, that's it. And let me give it a little, I always like that to say not equal.